All right, welcome. Today, we're cracking open SQL's Advanced Toolkit. We're going to go way beyond the basics and start looking at SQL not just as a language, but as this powerful set of investigative tools. Think of yourself as a data detective. So let's dive right in.
Do you ever get that feeling? You're staring at tables full of facts, but you just know there's a bigger story hiding in there. It feels like all the clues are right in front of you, they're just not connecting. Well, in this explainer, we're going to equip you with the advanced SQL techniques you need to crack any case.
You know, every good investigation kicks off by gathering evidence. The problem? That evidence is almost always scattered all over the place. You've got a name over here, a location there, a time somewhere else entirely. So this first set of tools is all about bringing that scattered evidence together into one single clear picture.
Okay, let's get our hands dirty with our first case. On the surface, it seems simple enough, right? But the answer isn't just sitting in one spot. We need to piece together Professor Vince's entire schedule: course numbers, units, days, location, the whole shebang. To solve this, we've got to examine the evidence files.
So, our first piece of evidence, the faculty table. Pretty straightforward. We can look up Leonard Vince and get his unique identifier, his faculty SSN. So now we know who he is, but we know absolutely nothing about what he actually teaches. It's a lead, but it's not the whole story.
Next up, evidence file number 2, the offering table. Now we're getting somewhere. Using the professor's ID from the last table, we can link him to a course number IS460 for the fall 2005 term. But what on earth is IS460? See, the story still isn't complete. And here it is, our final piece of the puzzle, the course table. This one gives us the juicy details about the courses themselves, like how many units they're worth. It connects a course number to its details, but look closely. There's no mention of a professor anywhere. So what we have are 3 scattered, incomplete clues. So how do we stitch all this together? The absolute key tool for this job is the multi-table join. A join is how you tell the database how these separate tables actually relate to each other. It empowers it to connect the dots and build a complete story from all those little fragments. And this is what it looks like in action. We tell SQL to select the data we want from all 3 of those tables. Then, in the where clause, we lay out the connections. We're saying match the fax SSN from the faculty table to the fac SSN in the offering table, and match the course no from the offering table to the course table. It creates this perfect chain of evidence. And boom, case closed. By joining those 3 separate tables, we get one single, clear result. Professor Vince's name, the course details, the time, the location, it's all right there. That, my friends, is the power of bringing scattered evidence together. Okay, let's ramp up the difficulty a bit. Our next case is, well, it's a bit of an inside job. We're looking for faculty members who actually earn more than their own boss. Now here's the twist. All the clues, the employee, their salary, and who their supervisor is, it's all in the same table. So how do you even begin to investigate that? The tool for this is something called a self-join. Yeah, you heard that right. You join a table to itself. And I know it sounds weird, but think of it like this. You're basically treating the same evidence file as 2 separate lists, one for the employee and a copy for the supervisor. The analogy is perfect. It's like asking someone in a police lineup to point to their accomplice who is standing right there in the very same lineup. Now, joins are great for connecting columns horizontally, but what if you need to combine lists of suspects vertically? For that, we use something called set operators. The first one is union. Imagine you have a list of faculty suspects and a totally separate list of student suspects. Union just merges them into one giant master list. Simple as that.
But what if you don't want everyone? What if you're only interested in the suspects who are on both of those lists? Well, for that, you use intersect. This would find anyone who is both a faculty member and a student. Think teaching assistants. It's the perfect tool for finding that crucial overlap between 2 sets of clues.
And finally, there's minus, which, as you can probably guess, is all about exclusion. If we take our list of faculty suspects and we minus anyone who is also on the student list, we're left with only the pure faculty. We're clearing anyone who falls into both categories. Okay, so we've learned how to combine clues from different places. Now let's dig into how we can ask smarter, more complex questions. This is like moving from basic fact-finding to a full-on interrogation of your data, where one question naturally leads to the next.
So here's the scenario. We want a list of every single employee who earns more than an employee named Abel.
Now, you can't just ask that in one simple step, because first, you have to figure out a critical piece of information. What is Abel's salary? This is a classic two-step problem.
And the tool for this is a subquery. A subquery, or an inner query, is basically a query that's tucked inside another query. And here's the magic trick. The database always solves the inner query first. It goes and finds Abel's salary. Then it takes that number and just plugs it into the outer query to find everyone who earns more than that specific amount.
You can really see that two-step logic right here. The inner query on the right, that one runs first. Its only job is to find one specific value, Abel's salary. Let's just say it finds the number 11,000. That value is then handed off to the outer query on the left, which can finally answer its question. Find all employees with a salary greater than 11,000. It's an incredibly powerful way to answer questions that depend on another unknown fact.
Okay, up until this point, we've only been reading the evidence. We've been looking, but not touching. But sometimes, a data detective has to actually change the official record. And that's where insert, update, and delete come in. These commands don't just ask questions, they can permanently alter your data. This is serious stuff, so you have to be careful. So how do you stay safe when you're altering the record? You use transaction controls. Think of commit as filing the final official case report. Once you commit, your changes are permanent. They are saved. But before you do that, you have a beautiful safety net, rollback. If you make a mistake, rollback is like hitting the undo button. It's like shredding a draft that went horribly wrong. It reverts everything back to your last commit. Never, ever forget about your safety net.
Phew, we've covered a lot of ground. Joining tables, interrogating data with subqueries, and safely modifying the official record. You've now got a seriously powerful new toolkit for all of your data investigations. So, let's see how you might use it on your next case. Just think about this for a moment. To solve this case, you'd probably need to join the borrower table with the book loans table, right? Then you'd have to group your results by borrower and count up their loans. And finally, you'd have to filter those groups to find only the ones with a count greater than 5. It's a case that forces you to combine several of the tools we've just discussed. The clues are always in your data, and now you have the toolkit to go and find them.